Thank you, Avril. And I love that comment you made, quietly crash and burn, is that the resistance is not always the out there defined thing. It's actually, it's there. You can't always put your finger on it. And I know you've joined here because you want to know how to break that cycle of resistance. How do you accelerate change? And to be able to do that, there's two key understandings that I'm going to engage on. We make three incorrect assumptions about change that often set us up to fail. Okay, and I'm going to share those, and that's going to give you a good context and a deeper understanding for why resistance shows up. And then we're going to give you, when you leave here, you'll be able to download this handout, which is going to give you all the tips and tricks you need. It's a process that reduces resistance. So let's start by imagining it's a long, long time ago. Okay. And two guys are walking through the jungle to get their lunch. And the one says, let's go to the other side of the jungle. Okay, that's that guy on the right. Look at his face. He's ready for opportunity. Okay. And the other one, look at his face on the left. He says, you crazy. It's way too dangerous. Okay. I've heard the huge dinosaurs there and we're going to be eaten. Okay. So who's right at the end of the day? Well, the fascinating thing is that they could both be right. Okay. Our brains are wired to listen to, I don't think so. So although we can listen to both arguments, the let's be careful argument is the one that actually jumps out for us. And threat has little to do with facts. Okay. It's really something that is for us to survive. Our brains resist the let's take a risk idea, and they generate a test, and that test is called fear. Right. Acknowledging and understanding fear is possibly one of the most powerful ways of leading change. And I just want to pause and say that again. Okay. Acknowledging and understanding fear is possibly one of the most powerful ways of leading change, because fear shows up as resistance, either inside yourself, okay, and just not an awareness of it, or that subtle thing that's getting things to crash and burn around you. So the issue in change is not always change itself, but it's the uncertainty of not knowing what is going to happen next. Okay, and that's why we generate that test called fear, be able to unlock it. And that's why you're here on this webinar. Okay, so you can do just that. So what does fear look like at work? Okay. Avril mentioned what resistance looks like. Okay, and the feelings at work are tangible. Okay, we talk about feelings being primal, being universal, and being infectious. Those three things. And fear is a felt experience. It's a wisdom more ancient and more powerful than logic. Okay, you can't beat it with logic. Okay, you try with your PowerPoint presentations. Okay, but you need a neuroscience-backed process that works with the brain and actually helps you to unlock for that, a neuroscience-backed process, something that's going to work with the brain, right? But first, we just got to see what sort of turns the volume up on resistance. And we make three incorrect assumptions about change. And this is the thing that turns the volume up, or facts. Okay. Maybe your leadership style only uses one of those, perhaps it uses all three. But alongside those incorrect assumptions, there's force, fear, and facts. We call them the three Fs. Okay. They might work, but they motivate the wrong thing. The real truth in times of uncertainty, leaders are pushing hard. Okay. And they push harder. They double down on planning, more scenarios, more dashboards. Okay. Bigger decks. Okay. So when you push harder without emotional readiness, you unintentionally increase the threat. Okay. Timelines start to slip. If we're managing Avril, okay, she's coming up with those excuses she shared with you. Okay, people comply on the surface, but deep down they're disengaged underneath. And all of this has a direct impact on change. So imagine if your change had this momentum, okay, of this little spinning top. Whether it be a personal change, or whether it be an organizational change you're leading, okay? I'm going to show you how this spinning top is exactly what you need, and you need to see change differently. Break the three assumptions, okay? Yeah. And that's an important one to remember, moving from excitement to despondency. Maybe initially you did have what the lady on the right's experiencing, okay? But as the change unfolds, you start to lose your power. It diminishes. Courage is the ability just to know, acknowledge the fear, but know things will work out, okay? And tapping into these feelings really accelerates and builds the momentum that you need going forward. Okay, so I'm going to get you to put them on a seesaw. Okay, and this is a lovely memory. I don't know how many of you used to go on a seesaw when you were little. Such a wonderful memory for me. I can still feel the feeling in my stomach. Okay, so what did those pirates do when there was this ship ahoy and there was a shout? Okay, what happened? What happened on that ship? If they were slightly short to the left, short to the right, they moved the cannons. They readjusted them so they could be more accurate. Okay. They aimed. They didn't waste time on making the perfect plan. Okay, they didn't have all these drones and accurate technology we have today, but they're teaching us something we need to use for agile change. So we're giving you a checklist for firing. Okay, we're giving you a checklist for aiming. Okay, and then you go again. Engage. Get ready. It's the cycle. So judgment, frustration, and fear. We put them into a little cycle on their own. We call it the cycle of resistance. So that's why you joined today. How do we break the cycle of resistance? Useful. Okay, first of all, we've got to know. But it's not something you have to fix. It's just something you need to understand. But I'm going to show you what it looks like in practice. So watch what happens to the inner cycle. It's moving anti-clockwise. It's going different to those blue arrows which say reflect, engage, activate. Okay. Thank you, Avril. Those little spinning tops are really, each person's got a different little situation with the change. And when you're leading, you've got to be checking in and seeing, oh, that little top's beginning to wobble. How do we have that one-on-one and move that person forward? So change is has a lot to do with the spinning tops, and that's the reason why people are always spinning tops in my change workshops. And there's definitely depth to the model. So those are 3 phases, we call it. Then there's 6 steps, and there are 12 milestones. So what you normally do when we go into organizations is we look at the change that's trying to be implemented. So we look for that tactical plan that you've got, and then we actually look at the change map and where do we put these little circles and how do we move it so that we support leaders in being able to spin the top there, and not just give the initial injection and expect that the change is going to carry on going. Okay.